What's up, witches? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking all about the 11th house, but before we get started, make sure you scroll down just a little bit, like and subscribe this video, and leave a comment letting me know if you have any 11th house placements or any noteworthy things that I might have left out during this video. And as per usual, just take what you like and leave the rest, as astrology, spirituality, and all these approaches to deciphering what is life is totally up for interpretation and is only meant to empower you. So if something doesn't resonate, leave it where it is, and if something does, take it along with you for the rest of your journey. So hopping right in, the 11th house is governed by the zodiac sign Aquarius, and Aquarius's ruling planets are Uranus and Saturn before it was Uranus. So what that really means is that the 11th house is very much associated to the way in which society evolves. A lot of astrologers have attributed the 11th house to friendships, peer groups, the way that we fit in, etc. But I also think it's something more than that. I think it's a little bit even bigger than that. It can be the way that one experiences society for themselves. The 11th house, being ruled also with that Saturnine essence, is very logical. It wants to keep things evolving, keep things moving, keep things advancing. By the same token, it also has the Uranus in it, which is a very wild, somewhat chaotic, fast advancement that needs to happen. Both planets are somewhat cold, distant, generational type of planets. Saturn, I guess, is not totally generational, but they're longer lasting lessons. And Aquarius is also an air sign, and the air element is correspondent to the swords in the tarot, and the swords are all about intellect, our ability to speak, the weaponry of the mind. So what I'm getting at here is the 11th house being correspondent to all of those things makes it a very logical, quick-witted, not fast-moving, but moving forward for sure at all times for the sake of a collective benefit, which is kind of a mouthful, I know, but if you take it down, 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 and you really look at the micro version of that macro picture, how it might look in someone's natal chart is going to be more of a reference to how they see society at large, how they fit in, how they feel about their peer groups, what their take on friendship really even is. And I guess I could give kind of an example. The 11th house placement in someone's chart can kind of show the types of friendships they might form, the ways they're going to fit into their society. For example, my 11th house is in Aquarius, which means friendships are very important to me, and I'm very analytical of the way society is moving along. I'm interested in listening to what everyone has to say for the most part, but I'm pretty detached at the same time. I have that loving distance that Aquarius often has. It doesn't want to get too emotional or too involved because, again, it's focused on growing and having this forward motion to it. So oftentimes there can be this element of detachment, which makes it more of a friendship house than a relationship house. It's also noteworthy to look at the fact that the 11th house sits between the 10th and the 12th house. So the 10th house, ruled by Capricorn, is all about public status, our ability to advance in our career life, and kind of like that material recognition, whereas the 12th house, ruled by Pisces, is total subconscious, otherworldliness, channeling, spirituality, kind of like what's beyond the material. So we have this very hard material house and this very etheric house nestling the 11th house, which is a bridge between the two. So Aquarius takes the wild out there-ness, that Uranus type of vibe, that you know, out of the box way of thinking, that spiritual fulfillment, the understanding, you know, that there's more and that there is a purpose and that there's a driving force out there. It takes that wildness of life, and then it also takes that 10th house Saturn, right? Saturn feeling of okay, we must stay logical. We need to stay detached enough to keep things moving forward at any cost. We need to put in real work here. We need to bridge this into humanity. We need to have hard results to show for our spiritual efforts. And in between the material world, this earth, right, and then the etheric world, the astral realm of the 12th house, we have people, society, operating, bridging that gap. So society at large is a direct reflection of the 11th house, or vice versa. Now, again, in the natal chart, it's going to just be more of a zoomed in lens into how that person sees society, forms relationships, what sort of services might spiritually fulfill them, but also be a benefit to their general society. And working through the lessons of the 11th house for an individual ultimately will let them know, you know, okay, so what does fulfill me, and how do I take that inspiration and take those native gifts of mine and apply them and be something of value to the people around me? How can I benefit people from my spirit, right? And that is the 11th house gift. Once we work through those things, once we are past any of the blocks or initial lessons that are presented to us in early adolescence, we're able to understand, you know, maybe I don't fit in here, and maybe I can't have these types of friendships, and maybe I'm, you know, X, Y, or Z, but I do great here, and this is how I can make a living out of that, or here's how I can fit into this. And again, moving through that theme of it being this bridge between personal genius, personal interest, channeled knowings about the self, and then moving out and being of service to the world, it makes sense why the 11th house would rule earned wealth. So it's that art of finding, you know, okay, what am I doing in the world, and how is the world going to elect me in to you know, my earnings? How is the world going to elect me into my job? How am I going to show my peer group that I'm worthy of X, Y, or Z? And of course, this can be really triggering and challenging if you are an outsider, but the good news is the 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, who is usually an outsider, meaning that the whole nice theme here is that the more yourself, the more unique you can be, the more likely you're going to find a niche to fit in, and then slowly circulate into a community that can appreciate you for that niche. But other than that, I think I've pretty much covered my take on this. If you want to really go into depth and really learn more and work more with the 11th house or astrology in general, you can go to my website, thelunarpriest.com, where I have tons and tons of blogs on astrology, tarot, all sorts of fun stuff, or follow me on Instagram at The Lunar Priest. Other than that, I'll be posting a lot this month, next month, the coming months, all about this type of stuff, because I'm actually getting back on my YouTube vibe. So with that, make sure that you like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!